Hi, this is Linda from Remade with Love, and today we're going to talk about, well, it's part one of a two-part project. And if you are hoping for spring, waiting for spring, and want to get ready, or you just want to bring some spring in even though it's still winter, what we're going to do is take a zinc tub or a zinc pail, and we're going to antique it so it gets that great old patinaed look. And then we're going to go ahead and do a stencil on it. And we'll go ahead and in the second part, I'll take my Cricut machine and I'll show you how I'm going to cut out some greenery, actually it's going to be succulents to fill my container that I make. So let's get started. What you'll need for today is a tin bucket or planter. Make sure it's not painted or sealed or the zinc process won't work. A degreasing cleaner like SimpleGreen or Amy Howard's Clean Slate. Some shop towels and lint-free cloths. Protective gloves so your nails don't turn blue from the zinc. Zinc antiquing solution. I'll post what I use in the details. A small mister as an option, and your choice of a stencil. I love to use mesh stencils and gel art ink or stencil cream and a spreader. Make sure that you cover, light antiquing wax and a brush along with some cardboard to offload your wax on. A small container and lint-free rag, and I cover my work area with a bottom layer of parchment paper and then 1 to 2 layers of craft paper. This will get messy. So, thoroughly clean your tin planter inside and out with your degreaser. You're going to remove any dust, oils from your hands, or light sealants that the manufacturer may have put on the tin. If these are not removed, it's going to stop the zinc from processing and turning your tin a desirable, mottled, matte, almost black color. Take your time, give it a lot of elbow grease, and get in all those cracks and crevices. You want to have this authentic, aged look like your planter has been sitting out in your garden. So you've got to get into all those areas. Next, make sure to vigorously shake your zinc antiquing glaze before pouring several ounces into a small container. You're going to saturate a lint-free rag so that it's almost dripping wet. And now you're going to be happy that you've covered your area with several layers of protection. Use a pouncing motion up and down and dab in a non-linear, sometimes even circular motion. You don't want to have draw it across. You don't want to scratch the surface or make lines on the surface. So this non-linear motion all over the tin will give it the mottled effect you're looking for. At first, it will only look like not much is happening, but in just a few moments, the solution beads up and starts to turn dark. It looks like black ink or paint that you've put on here. And don't worry that it's not one big cohesive strip of color like a paintbrush swipe would give. This is going to be a layering process that you dab over and over, rub on the edges, under the handles. You want to make it look random because nature never makes lines like a paintbrush does. It's going to be a random looking mottled appearance when you're done. Be sure to reload the zinc, make sure it's dripping wet, reload it as you need it, and rag it on, continue, and you'll notice that this process is starting to give your tin a nice black look. Now, it's always going to appear when things are wet, they're always darker. So, you'll want to dry this off. You can let it dry naturally or use a hairdryer or a blow dryer. If you use a heat gun, make sure, also a blow dryer, but a heat gun especially because those can get really hot. Make sure you have it turned to the cool temperature, just the fan, so that you don't burn your hands. I've seen beautiful countertops, tabletops, trays, decorative items, all enhanced by using this zinc process. So see how that's drying from a really dark, almost black ink look to this grayish mottled look. It's going to look a little bit like milk paint, the color noir. But you can make it get even darker. So once you've had a chance to take a look at this, your first attempt, if you would like to put some more zinc on and process some more, it's not going to hurt the tin to go back in, load up your lint-free rag with more solution, zinc solution, and again, cover it with zinc. Get all the areas you'd like to have darkened. And again, you can go ahead and speed up the process for drying using your hairdryer or a heat gun. Again, make sure it's cool. I wanted mine to be as dark as I could get it, so a couple of times, a couple of passes and drying got me the look that I wanted. I think this is looking nice and aged, and the patina looks natural. Remember, I'm going for that French planter look, so the texture and color are not going to be uniform. It's going to be very organic and look mottled like it sat out in my garden for a long time and the weather's affected the tin. Doesn't that look great? Okay, but we're not done. So next you're going to grab your stencil. I prefer mesh and find that just right look. So here's a set of stencils that I purchased. I use Amy Howard. Once again, you can use whoever you like, or you can even make your own. I have a video on making your own mesh stencils. And there are some really cute French ones on here. So I just snipped one out, and you've got to find where you're going to place it. So easy to peel these off once I find the edge and flip my tin over. I'm going to put some little chalk breaks in there so it can hold it steady while I look for the placement on this between the two handles. And what's good is I can always pull it up. It's not going to pull the freshly zinced surface off. And then I'm going to rub and press it down because I want to make sure that the ink or the stencil cream is not going to push through into areas that I don't want and have bleed over. So there it is positioned. And then I grab my chalk spreader, my gel art ink, and I'm going to put just a little dab on the end of my chalk spreader. It's like loading up a toothbrush with a little bit of toothpaste. And once I've got my amount on there that I think will cover, I'm going to press firmly at a 45-degree angle or so and push the ink through till I have complete coverage. Now here I cut my stencil out, and you may have the same issue where if you cut too close to the edge, you may get a little extra on the outside of your tin can, and you want to try and avoid that. I did not want to put any painter's tape, although there is fragile painter's tape that's for sale that you can use that probably would not pull up that freshly zinced surface. But until we get it sealed, you need to treat it delicately. It will scratch, and that's mostly why you want to seal it. Okay, so you pull it off, and let's see how I did. Oh, that looks super good. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We want this to look like it's been sitting outside for a while. We want the gel art ink or the stencil cream to dry. Oh, I got a little bit on the outside, but it cleans up so easily with just a little bit of water. There we go. Okay, so we want it to dry. You can use your heat gun or set your dryer to cool and let that dry. And then the last step is going to be to seal. So you can use a round or a chippy brush to add a light coating of wax to seal. Oh yes, and while you're letting it dry, put your stencil in water to soak so you can clean it up after. Okay, so it's important to dip into the tin and load your wax onto your brush in a circular motion, either with your chippy or the round brush, and then offload the excess onto a cardboard. This is so you don't have this big chunk or clump of wax that gets on anything that you're going to load it onto. Oh, there's hairs. Okay. And using light flicking motions, you're going to cover the tin with wax. We don't want any clumps of wax. We don't want it to feel obnoxiously or overly sticky or tacky. So just very gently, butterfly kiss everywhere. Once done, this should dry about 30 minutes and then be ready for you to fill or to use. I wanted to make sure it got into all the crevices. Even though it looks like I'm really using elbow grease, I'm not. I'm just flipping it around with my hand and doing butterfly kisses. And on the inside, if you put any zinc there, and on the bottom, if you did any there. What a transformation. Doesn't that look great? Stay tuned for part 2, where I'll show you how you can fill this tin with felt plants. And thank you so much for watching Remade with Love.